Hello everybody, DoomVlad here, bringing you not one, not two, but 3 reviews of movies that you should see if you haven't already. I have watched these movies on a binge last night and I found them all quite fantastic in the way they were shot and directed. All 3 of these movies are from 2018 and their Blu-rays are out, so fear not to purchase them. You will have a great time, I guarantee it. I will not be diving too much into the plot, at least for the second movie. The first and third one are documentaries, biography, drama. But I will be giving a one-word summary of my experience for each one, and I'll detail a little bit. First movie was directed by Peter Jackson with the help of the BBC. Oh, yes, those are the people that got me banned from live streaming on YouTube. Thank you, BBC. And it is called They Shall Not Grow Old. Word for this movie is revealing. This movie is a documentary all made up of testimonials from British soldiers who have fought in World War I and are still alive today. The movie covers everything about their experience, from the time the announcement was made that Great Britain was going to war against Germany, to the enrollment, training, trenches, and battle. Related to this, what I found most interesting was their psychological state during each period of their service. Their tales are haunting. The scenery depicted in the movie is ghastly. When we see No Man's Land, you don't need any further explanation as to why it is called No Man's Land. Speaking of scenery, this documentary is made with never before seen footage in that war. Nothing is staged, there are no actors, the movie that is playing before you was shot on scene, so to speak, and colorized to be released with the occasion of the centennial of the Great War, or World War I as we know it today. During the whole documentary, you only hear the soldiers' testimonials, and props to the editing team for doing a fantastic job into piecing this together, as to create a timeline of the events from each soldier's recollection. War is depicted as the gruesome monstrosity of humankind that it was, and it shows that there's no laughing matter or anything cool about it. Not much to spoil here. War equals bad, Peter Jackson directing this movie equals good, and applause for the editing team behind it. Moving on. I have heard of a lot of interesting notes about the second movie and couldn't wait to watch it, and I am happy to say I was not disappointed in the least. Suspiria, directed by Dario Argento. Fresh. I'm not able to say anything about the plot because I do not want to spoil it for you, but I found it very satisfying even if I already guessed what was going to happen about 1 hour before it happened. It was one of those movies where I was happy that it turned out the way I said it would. I found the acting to be great. Tilda Swinton fits the role of a mentor/leader. I only knew her from Doctor Strange, and yet here she is playing a similar role. I liked Angela Winkler in there, although she does not affect the plot by too much. I generally did not recognize her when she's using a German accent. I needed to pause the movie and take a good hard look at her and not just go onto IMDb. I'm not able to say anything except for the setting. 1977 divided Berlin, and I kid you not, this was my second movie of the night after World War I, and this was not intentional. A personal favorite of mine, being born just after the fall of communism in Romania, was the striking visual aspect of West and East Berlin. When my favorite character in this movie, a doctor in psychiatry, is traveling between West and East Berlin, you can see the buildings in East being way too run down, as it was the case during the time of the Eastern Communist bloc. That just struck a chord with me because we have the same buildings in Romania in 2019 and nobody's doing anything about it! Ahem. Subjective tastes and heartstrings aside, I loved it. The story is great, the visuals are great, the score fits this movie so well, and it is honestly incredible. Oh, something I should have mentioned before, if you are queasy or have an easily upset stomach, do not watch this movie. If you want to see an epic horror/thriller set in 1977 divided Berlin and care nothing for what I said before, watch this movie. You are in for a treat. What is also interesting is that this is a remake of the movie by the same name from the same year it takes part in, 1977. But this one has updated visuals, and I'm sure that there was CGI used in it, but you won't ever notice it. I haven't noticed it. It blends perfectly well. The editing is great for this movie as well, and I personally loved Dakota Johnson in it. I never even knew Dakota Johnson, but now I'm just in love with her. Good job for everyone involved in the production of this movie. I loved it. Last but not least, 22nd of July, directed by Paul Greengrass. The word for it is shocking. If the 22nd of July doesn't mean anything to you, let me refresh your memory. At that date, in 2011, 2 terrorist attacks happened in Oslo, Norway. The final death toll? 77 dead and 200 injured. All dead by one man. And this is his story. Not really, it's the story of the event as it happened and what happened afterwards. This was picked and released by Netflix. Oh wow! Netflix putting on something good. No schlock this time, such as... It is a biography/drama and it does not hide itself. Upon watching this movie, some people may call it exploitative, but you are not able to tell such a story while hiding the facts. If a little blood and gore goes in there, that makes for a lasting impression, but that is not added for effect, it is what happened. And of course I am exaggerating with the blood and gore stuff, and there isn't anything to spoil if you are not caught up with the event itself. 8 years after it happened. The movie starts on the 21st of July and ends after the incarceration of the perpetrator, whose name I will not give, but I will give the name of the actor that played him, Anders Danielsen Lee, I don't know how you pronounce that name. What a performance. If there was one guy to convince me that the bad guy in this event was nothing but an egomaniac with delusions of grandeur and all a total bullshitter and off his case, it has been this guy. Credit to him for playing a psychopath so well, and I do mean that as a compliment. Great acting. Also, Joffrey could have worked, but maybe he's too young, I don't know. The rest of the actors are good. I haven't seen any of them in anything else, but it felt natural. The main protagonist, if we could call him that, portrayal after the attack is on point. I'd suffer from a form of PTSD as well, not to mention the obvious physical wounds. And if that is indeed how it happened, and I am talking about the courtroom scene here, I have to applaud him for standing up. If you watch this movie, you will understand what I am speaking of. Conclusion for the 22nd of July. Good towards great biography/drama. It doesn't waste time being around the bush. It shows the event, how it happened because of certain flaws of the government at the time and what they have done to avoid that in the future. Or at least it is heavily implied that. Check it out and you will not regret it. And those were my 3 movies that were consumed on a binge last night. What did you think about any of these movies, if you have seen them? Do you have any suggestions what I should cover next in terms of movie? I'm looking to expand and do more reviews such as this, maybe get more in-depth over time with certain movies. I'm feeling pretty confident about this and would love to hear your guys' opinions. Do not forget to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. And in the meantime, this is DoomVlad signing out and I hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic day.